written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
Psalms chapter 17, verse 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. Shalom Yasharala, peace Israel. Call Halayim La, Alahayanawa, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All praise to our power, our Father, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, in the name of Holy Spirit. Double honor to elder apostles and elder bishops, great millstone. Peace and blessing to your hopeful elect out there. You brothers teaching his word in truth and in sincerity, okay? Yahweh Shai will make you elect like him. Yahweh Shai will make you hopeful elect out there just like him. He's gonna make you just like him, and he's gonna give you everything in due season, okay? I'm gonna read the scripture again, and then I'll get another. Just gonna read two scriptures in the Psalms. Psalms chapter 17 and verse 15 again. As for me, and this is a Psalm of David, and we know King David was an Israelite. Or should I say he is an Israelite, okay? So this verse right here is only for the Israelites, beginning with the elect. Those are part of the house of David. Because King David himself, he wrote this. Psalm 17 and 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness, meaning you will behold this truth, okay? This truth is the Lord's face. His image. You're looking at his face in righteousness by you understanding this truth. Okay? He opened up your mind to receive this word. You understand and believe in the true proper name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. You understand and believe in the true proper name of his beloved Son, Yahushai. You know that we're the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand this truth. So you're beholding his face in righteousness, meaning you're understanding these scriptures. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness, meaning when you're changed. When Yahushai returns to this earth, he's gonna quicken you. He's gonna give you life. When you receive that new body, it's like you're waking up for the first time. Totally refreshed, totally renewed, totally rejuvenated. A whole new world, a whole new life. That's how it's going to be when you receive that immortal body. You will be satisfied when you awake with his likeness, meaning you're going to be changed and you're going to be just like him. Because he is the perfect model. He is the archetype. So for you hopeful elect out there, you're being made into different versions of Yahushai. When he returns to this planet Earth, he's going to make you just like him. First, he gave you truth. You have his truth by way of his death and resurrection, because Yahushai had to die for us to receive this truth, this word. So you're beholding his face by you looking at this word. So you see Yahushai all the time. You see Yahushai by way of this word because he is the word. He comes in the volume of the book. And the more you get into this book, the more you're becoming like his image spiritually. And when he returns to this earth, physically, you're going to be like him. Physically, you're going to be changed. And you're going to receive that new covenant. The laws, statutes, and commandments will be in your mind. You're going to be programmed to do righteousness. Okay? You will have the laws, statutes, and commandments downloaded within your brain. You're going to be satisfied when you awake with his likeness, meaning when he returns, he's going to beam you up, deliver you, and you're going to be just like him. And he's going to give you everything. He will give you everything, man, because he himself received everything. Now, this is Psalms chapter 16, beginning in verse 9. Therefore, my heart is glad. Now, this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the spirit. Now, these are Psalms written by our beloved King David. But a lot of these Psalms, you hear Yahweh Shai in the spirit. Therefore, my heart is glad and my glory rejoiceth. Talking about Yahweh Shai. Because he knew that he was going to be resurrected after his crucifixion. And he knew what glory would follow his crucifixion, you know? He had that tunnel vision. He believed in the reward that he was going to receive. Therefore, my heart is glad and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. Dealing with him being crucified. He wasn't going to stay like that. For thou would not leave my soul in hell. The Lord did not literally go to hell. This is saying that the Heavenly Father, his Heavenly Father Yahweh, would not leave him in the grave. His Heavenly Father Yahweh would not leave him in the sepulchre, in the tomb, you know? After 3 days, Yahweh Shai was resurrected. So his flesh wouldn't decay. He wouldn't go through corruption. Basically, his body wouldn't decompose. But he didn't literally go to some damn hell dimension. That's a fairy tale, man. It's just saying that he wouldn't decompose. He was resurrected. For thou will not leave my soul, his soul meaning himself, his flesh, in the grave. Hell means the grave. Neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. Because he was resurrected, baby. He came back. Verse 11, this is the point right here. So we know Yahweh Shai was resurrected and he received all things. As is written, all power in heaven and in earth is given unto him because of what he suffered. For what he did, man, completing the will of his Heavenly Father, Yahweh.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Makakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, all right, dealing with this morning news and prophecy, you know, just dealing with this all military technology, okay, all these devices, you know, all these apps, you know, all these different platforms, okay, it's all linked back to military technology. And what we're seeing now, all right, dealing with this war with Iran, that Iran is actually starting to attack, all right, well, they're posturing, you know, to begin to attack, all right, some of this infrastructure of these tech companies over there in these Gulf Arab states, man, you know, and I find that interesting, man, because the Lord is doing a lot of things in these days, man. As the scripture said, you know, as this devil, you know, will build, the Most High will begin to throw down. And we know the ultimate throwing down is going to be the nuclear destruction, you know, because the devil, you know, he has a plan to build out, you know, a new world order ran by a technocracy, okay, where technology is going to govern the people, okay, and all this technology that we use in our day-to-day, okay, is all based upon military technology, all right, and pretty much he did it's like he did an invasion of people's privacy, okay, by putting this technology on the market, okay, for public consumption, okay, because as we think that this technology, you know, is to make our life, you know, more convenient, which these things do to a degree, you know, because you can abuse anything and use it too much, but you know, this technology does make things more convenient, all right, but this devil, has a wicked agenda behind this technology, man. All right, because it was all based off military technology, man. Okay, the internet and all these different things, which we're going to get into it. Okay, but let's get some precepts. Okay, because we have to understand that the scriptures, this is why the scriptures put us on game about the nature of our enemy Esau Edom. Okay, even when you go to his birth, well, the scriptures is giving us game. The scriptures full of gems and jewels of wisdom. Okay, and puts us on game. All right, so we'll be in the know. So we'll be in the light. All right, so when you go to Genesis 25 and 27, and this is the birth of Jacob and Esau. All right, it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Okay, so the scriptures describe Esau as a cunning hunter. All right, now we know this devil, he's into, hunting as a sport. Okay, he's crafty when it comes to hunting. He has all type of devices, to make hunting, all right, easier for him. Okay, but when you really get into it with the elites, man, they have mastered how to hunt souls. Okay, so when you go into this word, when you go into this word cunning, okay, when you go into this word cunning, which is in the Hebrew, is yadah. All right, yadah. Okay, which means to know, to learn, to perceive. Okay, to know by experience, to find out. All right, or to discern. Okay, to know how to be skillful in. Okay, so when it comes to wickedness, when it comes to enchanting, because he's a cunning hunter, well, that's the spirit of Esau. Well, and we know the spirit that's in Esau was the spirit of the serpent as well. Okay, and what was the serpent tapped into? Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle. You see that? You see some characteristics than any beast of the field that the Lord had made. And he said unto the woman, yeah, have the Most High said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Okay, now just to emphasize on the serpent. Okay, first they called this nigga subtile. Okay, so when you go to subtile in the Hebrew, all right, it's I, all right, Aram, all right, Araham, okay. It says what? Subtile, crafty, shrewd, sly. Okay, so this nigga has become very skillful in being crafty, all right, and prudent and sly when it comes to wickedness, man. Okay, and this man has been able to infiltrate all this military technology into the homes, okay, and into the lives of the masses. Okay, to the point where people's lives, all right, are attached to these devices. Okay, people's livelihood are attached to these devices, man. And it's all military technology, and it was all by design. That's why he makes it affordable. Okay, you can go anywhere, almost all these companies, and get some type of free phone. Okay, these TVs are affordable as hell. Laptops, everything is affordable. Okay, this technology is affordable because this is a part, okay, of this devil sly and crafty, okay, subtile plan, okay, to merge people with technology, man. And also he uses technology to do a lot of social engineering and put enchantments on the masses, man. Through this technology, he's able to have major influence on the masses, man. He's able to pull off major psyops and constant enchantments, man. Okay, through this technology, man. You see, it's for monitoring, it's for tracking, it's for data, for learning, training the AI. Okay, he's been doing this for decades, man. Okay, now going here, because as he's giving, everybody all this access to this technology, and in people's mind, this nigga has, their Esau has their well-being in mind. People think that this man is creating this technology for the sake of convenience. Okay, and convenience is a trap. Convenience is a major trap, man, because a lot of people, they're getting ready to take this sea help to get back to convenience. That's why the devil is finna intentionally make it uncomfortable, and the Lord has set the atmosphere perfectly for this nigga to make, all right, life uncomfortable, man, for the masses. Okay. And people are going to want those comforts back. Okay. But in order to get back to those comforts, hey, you're going to have to merge with technology, man. Okay. But he has already, enchanted people with this technology, spoiled people with this technology. Okay. So people, is people that can't function without it. Okay. So when you go to the book of Sirach 14:5, it says, "He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?" Okay. Whom he that is evil to himself, man. This man destroys the earth that he has to live on. Okay, so who the hell could he be good to? And then he destroys his own people. All right, he looks at his own people now. Okay, it's just gone. All right, to the point to where he's like, look, it's just gonna be a few elite families. Okay, and everybody else is gonna be going. Okay, so he don't even care about himself. He don't care about his people. All right, Esau just care about, all right, his ego, his God complex, wealth, status, power. Okay, amongst a small circle. Okay, and all these people that we see, this nigga allows, all right, because they at least allow, all right, people to become billionaires. Okay, and then I just seen the brother had posts, all right, that Elon, he's on the way to becoming a trillionaire, man. And they do these things, they set these niggas up, okay, in front of us, okay, as a mascot to all this technology, man. As if these niggas emerge, amongst, society. They just work their way up through this great capital system. All right, this system of capitalism. Okay, they just work their way through the ranks. Then they can say, well, capitalism is fair for everyone. Okay, well, there's another twist that they do, which that's BS. Verse 6, there is none worse than he that envy himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he do it good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness, man. Now we're starting to see the wickedness, okay, of everything that this devil has been doing the whole time. Okay, everything about this man's rulership was always a setup. It was always a snare. It was always a trap. Okay, and now he's at the time, okay, to where he's ready to spring that trap on the masses, man. Okay, and this technology played a major part in conditioning the people for this new world order. Okay, this technocracy, man. Because he has gotten the masses to worship, okay, this technology. You see? So I want to go here because I found this interesting. I got a few videos. Now this one here, yep. Yeah, so Iran is fighting this war because this shows you that all this technology is being infused with the military, because there's really no such thing as a public-private sector. Okay, the private sector, all right, is nothing but, all right, a crypto. All right, they like say Meta, Google, all right, Facebook, all right, Palantir. All this is military technology. Okay, they're just masked as these private companies. Okay, for the acceptance of the people. You see, people think that they're just buying, this technology for their convenience. No, you're buying this technology as a part of the agenda. Okay, they just showed you how the Ring camera. They had the Super Bowl, okay, camera for Ring. Okay, for they had the Super Bowl commercial for the Ring cameras, and they was talking about linking, what they call search party, where they link all these cameras together to find the dog. Esau don't care about no missing dog. Okay, all the children that go missing every year, Esau don't care about no missing dog. Okay, they're just all part of this devil's digital public infrastructure, man. You know, he has the masses installing, okay, DPI for him, man. You see, because this nigga is crafty when it comes to wickedness, you know. But he's being searched out, and this is the beautiful thing about walking, you know, in the light, walking in your house shop, man. We can see this nigga, man. Okay, we see the whole play. That's why when we understand prophecy, we see the whole play. We understand the nature of Esau. We see the whole play because we know where he's trying to go. Okay, so we're not looking at these situations as isolated events. No, we know where this nigga is trying to go. So we know the agenda behind the moves he's making, man. Okay, so let's play this because this interesting, you know, is developing. You know, Iran just named Google, Microsoft, Nvidia as his next targets, man. Okay, so this is getting interesting, man. The Lord is stirring this thing up. Okay, prophecy is unfolding. See, the Lord is in the Lord is in prophecy is in the driver's seat, man. The Lord has prophecy in the driver's seat, man. And Esau riding along. Okay, and he got to go where prophecy say he gonna go. Okay, so let's play this.
A list of military bases, not radar installations, not oil fields. Yesterday, Iran published a list, not a list of military bases, not radar installations, not oil fields, naval vessels, or missile defense systems. Those have been targets since day one. Everybody knew those were coming. Yesterday's list was different. Yesterday's list had 6 names on it that have never appeared on any military target list in the history of modern warfare. 6 names that collectively represent more economic value than the GDP of most countries on Earth. 6 names that every person reading this right now has used today, probably before breakfast: Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, IBM, Oracle, Palantir, the IRGC, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the most powerful military force in the Middle East outside of the United States itself, published through its official Tasnim news agency a formal declaration that every office, every data center, every cloud infrastructure node these companies operate across Israel and the Gulf is now, in their exact published words, Iran's new targets. And then they did something that no military force in modern history has ever done before issuing a strike campaign. They warned civilians to leave, not to evacuate a neighborhood near a missile base, not to stay away from a military airport or a naval facility. They told the civilian public of the Gulf, the people who live and work in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Manama, and Tel Aviv, to not stand within 1 kilometer of any US or Israeli-linked bank, 1 kilometer from a bank, because the bank might be hit by a missile. That warning was issued yesterday, March 11th, 2026, day 12 of a war that was supposed to be a short-term excursion. Today is day 13. And the question every government, every investor, every tech executive, and every ordinary person with money in a Gulf bank account is asking this morning is the same question. Is this real? Here's how you answer that question. You look at what Iran already did, not what it threatened, not what it announced, not what an IRGC spokesperson said in a press release, what it actually did. Because the threat published yesterday is not the first chapter of the story, it is chapter 2. And chapter 1 already happened 11 days ago on the very first morning of this war. On March 1st, 2026, while the world was still processing the news that Khamenei was dead and the Middle East was on fire, Iran fired drones at a data center. Not a military facility, a data center. 3 Amazon Web Services facilities located in the UAE and Bahrain, the cloud computing backbone for banking, payments, delivery platforms, and enterprise software across the entire Gulf region. 2 of the UAE facilities were directly struck. One in Bahrain was damaged by a nearby explosion. AWS confirmed structural damage, disrupted power delivery, fire suppression systems activating inside server rooms, flooding equipment with water to stop the blaze. Amazon told its customers, expect recovery to be prolonged, given the nature of the physical damage involved. Within hours, Careem, the Gulf's largest ride-sharing and delivery app used by tens of millions of people every day, went offline. Payment processors. HubPay and Elan reported outages. Emirates NBD, First Abu Dhabi Bank, and Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank all reported service disruptions. Enterprise software across the region lost connectivity. Investing apps, delivery trackers, digital wallets, all of it suddenly dark, because a drone had set fire to the building where the servers lived. The Uptime Institute, the global authority on data center resilience and infrastructure security, confirmed what had happened with a single sentence that nobody in Silicon Valley, nobody in the Pentagon, and nobody in the Gulf's trillion-dollar investment community wanted to read, "This was the first confirmed military attack on a hyperscale cloud provider in the history of warfare." Nothing like it had ever happened before. Iran did it on day one, before the smoke cleared over Tehran, before the first casualty figures were published, before oil crossed $100 a barrel, before the Strait of Hormuz closed. Iran looked at the American economy, identified its most modern, most critical, most globally connected infrastructure, and hit it on the opening morning of the war. That was the proof of concept. Yesterday's list, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, IBM, Oracle, Palantir, is the expansion of what was proven possible on day one. And to understand why what comes next is not just a military story.
And all these companies are ran by small hat CEOs. Okay? By these small hat CEOs. You see? And remember, there's a lot of bad blood between Persia and Amalek. You know, or we'll tap into that tonight. All right. Well, there's a lot of bad blood between Persia and Amalek. Okay. So these are all these small head companies, man. Okay. And these companies are merged with the military. Okay. And then it shows you too just how fragile this system is. Like Esau wanted to go digital. This makes a digital system is extremely fragile. It's cool, fantastic when it's up and running and things are going smoothly, man. But when something go wrong, it go wrong on a catastrophic level. You know? And it just shows you how fragile this system is that Esau has, from the way he has shipping set up, the way the world does trade, the money. It's all fragile as hell. Okay, it's extremely fragile. That's the drawback to all this technology and the Internet of Things and everything interconnected, you know, through these platforms and, you know, these servers and digital systems, man. It makes it extremely fragile, man. This system is extremely fragile. Okay, and this man wants to run the earth off of a fragile system. He parades it like he just figured something out so great. But this digital system is extremely fragile, man. Okay? It's very vulnerable, especially when you have everything interconnected, because one thing go wrong, man, all right, millions are impacted. Billions are impacted instantly, man. You know, this is a terrible, when you sit back and look at what Esau was doing, it's all bad, man. You know, this whole idea is terrible. This is all for his ego, for him to boast. Okay? It really isn't a great thing that this nigga is trying to roll out, but he's going to paint it that way. But when you look at it, you know, the system that the devil is trying to establish, man, this is a very fragile system, man. You know?
Or technology story, but potentially the most consequential economic event of this decade. You need to understand one thing that the architects of this war never modeled, never calculated, and apparently never asked. What do these 6 companies actually mean to the United States military? Because the answer is not what most people think. And Iran knew the answer before Washington ever launched the first airstrike. Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, IBM, Oracle, and Palantir are not simply technology companies. They are not just consumer brands or stock market darlings, or the companies whose apps fill your phone screen. In 2026, they are the operational infrastructure of American military power. And that is precisely why Iran named them. Microsoft Azure holds the Pentagon's classified cloud computing contracts, multi-billion-dollar agreements that make Microsoft servers the digital backbone of US military communications, logistics, and intelligence processing. When an American general needs to coordinate air operations across 6 countries simultaneously, the computing infrastructure running underneath that coordination is, in significant part, Microsoft's. Google Cloud has active defense contracts that its own employees protested for years, contracts providing AI capabilities to military intelligence operations. Palantir did not become a $60 billion company by selling software to hospitals. It built the data analytics architecture that US Special Operations Forces use for targeting, the system that takes raw intelligence from satellites, signals intercepts, and field reports and converts it into strike coordinates. NVIDIA's chips do not just run gaming graphics cards and consumer AI assistants. They power the artificial intelligence systems processing satellite imagery in real time over Iranian airspace right now, identifying missile launchers, tracking vehicle movements, and generating the target lists that American and Israeli aircraft are using to select their next strike. IBM provides enterprise infrastructure to U.S. intelligence agencies that predates the modern cloud era and runs some of the most sensitive government computing operations on Earth. Oracle hosts classified U.S. government data under contracts that make it one of the most strategically embedded commercial companies in the American national security architecture. Iran's argument, published explicitly through Tasnim, is that these are not neutral civilian businesses sheltering behind commercial activity. They are the companies whose technology is enabling the airstrikes that have killed more than 300 Iranian civilians, struck 10 medical centers, bombed a girls' school in Manab, killing over 150 children, and reduced entire neighborhoods of Tehran to rubble. Iran is arguing, and international legal scholars will debate this for years, that companies whose products directly power military targeting have forfeited their status as protected civilian actors. Now, look at where these companies have.
You see that? Okay. So you see how, you see how integrated this technology is with the military, because it was always military technology. Okay. It wasn't meant for consumers, and then it turned military. No, it was always military technology. Okay. And they allowed it to be a consumer product. Okay. For the sake of data gathering of civilians. Okay. Because everyone has a digital version of themselves, man. All right. This devil has everyone's data and patterns and, mannerisms. And, he has all these things, man. You see, he has digital versions of everybody, man. Okay. And he wants to upload that to a digital grid. You see, in his new world order. You see, and that CHIP is just going to be that permanent identifier with your digital you. Okay. So these companies were always military companies. Okay. Military technology. All right. He just threw a private logo on it. All right. Put one of these CEOs, one of these little flunkies of these oligarch families, because all these tech giants, small hats, all right, and they're within, all right, these particular families, okay, these particular, insider families, okay, amongst these oligarchs, okay, so they just choose one of these niggas, make this nigga the CEO, give him a little backstory, okay, a little fake, backstory of how he came up with the company, and, but it's all military technology, man. And Iran is like, look, nigga, if they're helping you, nigga, they're part of the war. Okay? So Iran has, hit a few data centers. Okay, now they're saying, look, all these other companies, they're on the target list as well, because they make these air strikes possible, man. They make this targeting, all right, the way, because through Palantir, that's how they're able to assassinate all these different leaders. Okay, because Palantir working through those satellites, okay, gives this real-time location, is able to give real-time location, okay, to American military, man. You see, what is ICE using? ICE is using the Palantir software, because it's trained in the Palantir how to police, how to track, all right, how to police, how to track, all right, civilians. Okay. So what we're seeing with this military hardware, all right, this military software, okay, these so-called private companies with these military contracts, man, all right, and this is the way they want to govern the new world order. All this technology is going to be merged, okay, with government. It's being merged with government, okay, it's being rolled out, okay, and they're telling you there's a public-private, merger, okay. Well, ultimately, it's just the government, okay, incorporate these technologies, okay, that they started decades ago, man. So it's pretty much just full circle. It's being routed right back to the government. You see this technology, man, which is going to be used to govern, okay, in this new world order. That's his agenda, okay. So Iran is like, look, nigga, y'all on the target, y'all making this possible. But it's showing you too that AI don't do so well in real battle. Like I say, it's good for assassinations. It's good for when you're just attacking civilians, doing airstrikes on civilians, like in Gaza. It's great. But then you're dealing with people that's got a strategy. You're dealing with strategic minds on the other side. AI don't fare too well because AI can adapt like a real, the AI cannot adapt like humans. Okay, it has to be fed into, and it runs off these set programs. And that's why it's able to be manipulated. That's why Iran is able to manipulate a lot of Esau's AI. Okay, and this is why the American military is full of men that know how to run this AI, but they really can't strategize off the hip. See, right now you need some strategists in this war. America don't got that. They just got these AI operators. Okay, you need some strategy. You need someone that's been in the field, got experience, that can come off the hip with some strategy to counter. But they don't got that. They depending on AI. AI ain't never see. It's so much. See, in war, things happen so fast, and there's a lot of things that's going to happen, guaranteed. That no matter how many times you run the simulation, no matter how powerful your AI is, the AI not going to account for it. And when the AI don't account for it, it's useless. Okay, if the AI can't account for certain scenarios and situation, it becomes useless. Okay, and this is where the human mind, okay, is superior to this AI. Okay, because see, even this AI was a big fraud. Okay, and this war is exposing that. So, let's play a little more, then we'll segue to another video.
Built their Middle East presence because geography tells you everything about the scale of what is at stake. Google's Middle East headquarters is in Dubai, not a small liaison office, but a major regional operation sitting inside one of the most recognizable commercial districts in the world. Microsoft maintains its largest regional presence in Abu Dhabi, where it committed $3 billion in data center investment in 2024 alone. Oracle has been aggressively building Gulf infrastructure as the region positions itself as the AI capital of the emerging world. NVIDIA has deep partnerships with UAE sovereign wealth funds and government AI initiatives. IBM operates across the Gulf, providing enterprise technology to governments and financial institutions. All of it, every server, every office, every fiber connection, was built on a single foundational assumption that was formalized into official US policy just 6 weeks before this war started. In January 2026, the United States announced the Pax Silica initiative, a formal partnership with the UAE and Qatar designed to anchor American AI chips and cloud infrastructure in the Gulf, specifically to prevent that technology from flowing toward China. The security frameworks built around that initiative were sophisticated and expensive. They covered export controls, chip tracking, political alignment agreements, and
and basically, because you're going into the details, but ultimately, these devils, all right, they plan on, just building these smart cities, all throughout the earth. Okay, because the New World Order, well, they want everyone within these smart cities, where they can be tracked, surveilled. Okay, all your resources there. All right, and these smart cities, and what did Trump call them? Freedom cities. Okay, Trump called them freedom cities. Okay, that's ran by what? All this AI. Okay, which is nothing but an open air prison. Okay, for this devil's New World Order. You see? So when you go here, let's say wait here just to show, because we went into this a while ago. I had to find the video dealing with yeah, here you go. Yeah, so he's gonna go into it. All right. So let's play this because he's gonna go into all these different tech companies, these CEOs, and how it's all government, technology. Okay. Now this is the brother Yaqub, the hopeful elect. Proverbs 26 and 27 said, whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him, man. Okay, because the devil has built up all this, this AI infrastructure. Okay, this digital infrastructure. But now we're seeing this working against them because we're going back into it. All right. If you're dependent on this technology to fight a war, well, all they have to do is attack your technology. Okay, because those data centers are vulnerable. Because as you can see, Esau can't stop, all right, Iran from striking where they want to strike. Okay, so hitting these data centers in their region, it cripples these devils. Okay, and they're just out in the open. Okay, because this proud devil, he's in his mind, no one will ever. You see, and that's another thing. This pride, all right, this pride has put this man in a tough predicament, man. Okay, because he based a lot of his moves on people never daring to try him. Okay, but now that he getting their chin tested, okay, we seeing, oh, this nigga ain't got no chin. These nations are looking, this nigga ain't got no chin. This nigga fragile. Okay, he got hella offense, but this nigga ain't got no defense. And nigga can't withstand nothing, man. So this pit that he made to entrap and enslave the world through this technology, man, was coming to find out this shit fragile, man. You hit a couple of data centers, man, and it crippled this man's banking, military, all this shit get crippled. Okay? Because this whole interconnected thing, man, Internet of Things. You see? But he presented these things as if he had it all figured out, man. He don't. Okay? And what we're seeing is this devil, all right, he never had it all figured out. Okay? The Most High has put Esau in slippery places, man. Okay? So let's go here. Let's get this. Brother got another one. Then we'll play this video. This is Brother Ward's Yahushua 144, Proverbs 22:3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. And to the simple, this technology is the greatest thing ever. A lot of people, they're going to willingly walk into this digital trap. Okay? Because they've come, they come so addicted to this man's technology. Okay? To where they worship this man's technology. People look at AI, as the best invention ever. They look at AI, as a guy, it's an idol. Okay, so the simple are going to pass on, okay, and walk straight into the digital trap. All right. Well, let's play this. Let's see, because he's going to start going into it.
They're doing all to bring in a digital ID. And what you need to understand most is that everything you're seeing is a government operation, including Apple releasing a digital ID. All of these companies, again, are shell companies of DARPA. Let me simplify. Let me do it as quickly as I can. Let me educate you so you don't get bored of what DARPA is, because people hear DARPA and they don't understand. DARPA, simplified, okay, is a U.S. government agency under the Department of Defense. Its job is to invent and develop crazy, high-risk, high-reward technologies that are way ahead of their time, mostly to keep U.S. military far ahead from everyone else into technology, right? Think of it as the Pentagon's mad scientists. Small teams of brilliant people get a ton of money and freedom to work on things that sound like science fiction. And this is going to their AI, which they're using to tell you that all correct information is coming from AI now and everything else is misinformation. So this is coming from their own mouths. That's why I'm using it. Okay, they say with the rule that if it's not at least a little bit insane and potentially game-changing, they're probably not interested. So here are things that DARPA has created: the internet, GPS, stealth aircraft technology, voice recognition, computers, mouse, graphical user interfaces, self-driving cars, mRNA vaccine technology. See how this ties together? Hypersonic weapons. And that's not to mention just some other things, brain-computer interfaces, which it does mention drones, swarms. How about directed energy weapons? All creations of DARPA, all things we're seeing on a day in, day out basis. And again, who funds DARPA? DARPA is fully funded by you and me. If you pay your taxes, taxpayers fund DARPA. And what DARPA does with their money is they create this technology and then they have shell companies sell you this technology because they know you would never bring it in your home. You would never want Big Brother to track you with GPS, right? For example, the internet, right? The internet, when the internet came out, well, it was slowly marketed to you. And by the way, the birth of the web, which was started at DARPA, the World Wide Web, working with DARPA, was created at CERN, right? And of course, World Wide Web, which nobody ever thinks about anymore, WWW, is 666 in Hebrew. And of course, CERN's logo is littered with that number 666, as I mentioned earlier, about being able to buy or sell in terms of thinking about the internet and thinking about if a digital ID is something that's embedded in your genetics via an mRNA vaccine, well, you'll only be doing purchasing via a digital wallet, which they've conditioned you into with things like PayPal and Venmo over the last decade or so. So we go back to DARPA and we look at all the insane technology, right? And then you say to yourself, wow, GPS, these are all things that, oh, I have a GPS in my car. Oh, I have this. That's sold to you. It's marketed to you. And then you willingly use your free will and buy these things, thinking that Jeff Bezos isn't spying on me. Mark Zuckerberg, what does he care what I'm talking about on Facebook, right? So they give you a nice little cute story about who these people are, right? These are shell companies. It's really your government, whether it's Meta, Amazon, Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Tesla, Microsoft. They're all directly connected. Intel, HP, IBM, all connected to the government. So you get your characters like Bezos, Zuckerberg, Jobs, and in your mind, you get these stories. This is why they throw these biopics out at you every couple of months, right? How many Steve Jobs biopics do people need to see? None. Nobody wants to really see it. They give it to, oh, he's such a smart guy. He came up with this idea. Oh, did Mark Zuckerberg steal this idea from these guys? No. DARPA created this technology with taxpayers' money. This technology was created to spy and bring in a surveillance state on their own civilians. The civilians would have uprised against this if they realized it. So what they did was they started marketing it to you in cool brand names like Apple, by showing you video games and cool little things you could do on your phone, like take a picture of yourself and turn it into a black and white photo, or put little flowers or kiss emojis or heart emojis by your face. And the next thing you know, this technology is accepted. That's exactly what they're doing right now with AI. They're giving you AI and they're saying you could make a thumbnail for a video. You could do this with AI. You could take a picture of, you could take Keanu Reeves and put him in Top Gun and have a 15-second clip. And all these people love it. They love to be entertained. And then we allow this technology in our society, not realizing, wait a minute, the government has the advanced technology, so far advanced. Somebody just commented on one of my videos and they said, look at AI, it's crap. Those videos don't work. You can see the guy's hand. That's the AI they released to you to get you accustomed to it. You have zero idea how advanced their AI is and what it's planning on doing to the rest of us, especially through AI governance, right? So Apple, direct connection. Let's look at these connections before, this is what's really important for you to know, okay? Apple, directly connection to DARPA. DARPA's investments in foundational technologies indirectly shaped Apple's hardware and software not through direct adoption beyond Siri, GPS location services, internet and networking, AI and machine learning, all created by DARPA, then funneled through companies like Apple. Okay, that's Siri technology, which is extremely dangerous technology. It's military technology that's being marketed to you now as a personal assistant through Apple. In the early 2000s, DARPA launched the personalized assistant that learns. It's called the PAL program, a multi-million-dollar initiative to build AI systems capable of reasoning, learning from experience, and assisting military planners with data synthesis and decision-making, right? Now, all of a sudden, it's in your home, right? By 2007, as military adoption lagged due to security and integration challenges, Siri spun off and became an app for the iPhone. Apple acquired Siri, they tell you, in a $200 million deal, right? So your government is creating this type of technology for the military, and then they're selling it to Apple? Is this any of this stuff making sense to you? Is this for your benefit that the government's creating this technology and then giving it to big tech companies so that you go and buy it and bring it into your home? Okay, that's what people need to realize. They want this tech in your home. You never would have brought it in the first place. So Apple, again, direct connection. I talked about Amazon, right? Amazon was not born in a garage. It was born at the Pentagon. Okay, Jeff Bezos' grandfather, co-founder of DARPA, Take a look at Jeff Bezos. Do you think that guy came up with any of this stuff? Look at all these clowns. Elon Musk, guy can't even make a sentence. They all sound like complete lunatics. They're like, oh, they're just crazy tech guys. They're smarter than us. That's why they sound like that. They're actors, right? Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, creation of what? Creation of DARPA. Deep, enduring partnership with DARPA since its earliest days. Okay? DARPA, the U.S. Department of Defense, high risk, high reward R&D arm, provided critical early validation and funding that helped SpaceX survive nearly bankruptcy in 2008. It's involved in other ways with Tesla. They'll try to pretend like it's not. We all know how the government came in. Donald Trump's uncle actually took the innovations from Nikola Tesla and then, of course, put it under the character of Elon Musk as the Tesla creator and founder.
It's all connected, okay? Because you see Donald Trump uncle, all right? He reviewed Tesla's death ray, secrets, found mysterious royal letters, because it was John Trump, Donald Trump uncle. He was the first one on the scene at the death of Tesla. Okay. Would you know there was some, all right, some shadiness. All right. With John Trump, Donald Trump uncle was the first one on the scene. All right. During the death of Tesla. Okay. And Elon Musk. Okay. His grandfather, on his mother's side. Okay. His grandfather was heavy into this technocracy movement in the 1930s. Okay, so here it is. Who did you have? Trump and Musk at the forefront. Okay, at the beginning of Trump's presidency, and Musk was coming through what? Cleaning house. Okay, he was just slashing the government and replacing it with AI. What he was doing, he was saying, okay, what can AI replace immediately? And that's what he was going and slashing. Okay. So these devils, all right, all this military technology, in this war is exposing like, okay, this was always military technology, man. Okay. So let's play a little bit more of this.
Government tech that you're seeing. NVIDIA, another one. You hear about NVIDIA almost every day, right? NVIDIA, the big stock. Everyone's talking, NVIDIA, the stock. NVIDIA, the chips that they're making, they're going to be crazy. NVIDIA is going to, power the AI infrastructure, right? Well, NVIDIA, funded by DARPA, right? So it's not DARPA going out and saying, hey, this company, NVIDIA, has a cool idea. We'd like to help them out. It's DARPA saying, here, you're going to take this technology and you're going to push it out. We're going to let people invest in these stocks. If you like they're part of these corporations, we'll make the stocks go up. We'll make them go down. We'll make people go crazy while they watch their stocks. Meanwhile, we're bringing out this technology that should be illegal, that no normal human being should ever want in their world. But they're wanting and willing to allow it in their world because they're making money via stocks. They're seeing companies sell it to them and not Big Brother do it, right? I talked about Facebook and the LifeLog program, DARPA's LifeLog program, okay? It was created by DARPA, the U.S. Department of Defense research arm, initiated the LifeLog program in 2003 under its Information Processing Techniques Office, okay? I talked about this recently. LifeLog shut down the same day that Facebook launched. It was the same thing. Would people have willingly gone to LifeLog if they came out and said, hey, the Pentagon is releasing an internet website where you go there and you put in your information and you put in what you're thinking, you put in what you're eating, you take pictures of yourself, you tag locations when you go places, right? Would you willingly do that if it had a government.gov, URL? No, you wouldn't. So they built out LifeLog, they shut it down, they launched Facebook. They gave you the character of Mark Zuckerberg. Ooh, Zuckerberg stole the idea from the dorky twins at Harvard University, right? And everybody goes down a fake government-created rabbit hole because they don't want you to realize what DARPA's really doing. Who else is DARPA involved with? Well, how about AT&T? Because if we look at everything and we look at the connection of the internet, we look at the connection of Wi-Fi, we look at the 5G towers. Well, AT&T and DARPA have a direct connection, right? DARPA's funding and technical guidance helped shape AT&T, Bell Labs. They've been working together since AT&T became a company. ARPANET development, DARPA's flagship networking project, relied on AT&T and Bell Labs for key infrastructure as they partnered with one another. And then from there, what happened with AT&T? Well, AT&T became a lot of different companies, right? Companies that you know of today as Verizon, spinoffs from AT&T. Companies like T-Mobile, spinoffs, right? So DARPA puts this tech out, and then they give you you could buy a T-Mobile phone, you could buy a Verizon phone, right? You could buy the AT&T phone. You could buy some of these other phones that we roll, these burner phones, right? As if it's some independent thing, a company coming up with an idea that there's no connection to the government, that you're free will, you're picking what you want, you're making this choice. It's the illusion of freedom. And you're buying, and we're all buying into our own enslavement system. All of these phone companies are all connected to DARPA, right? Just like all the big tech companies are. And this is all about surveillance, full-on government surveillance.
Even with the phones, these phones, act like they're competing, for your business, but ultimately it's just government technology, man. And also that thing of they give you this illusion of choice. Okay, so you think that you're, Verizon, T-Mobile, okay, AT&T directly, all right, but they're all in the same umbrella of this military technology, man. Okay, and these phones play a major part in Esau social engineering because most people get their news from their phones. Okay, most people get their entertainment from their phones. Okay, most people, all right, most of their attention throughout the day is to their phones. Okay, so this devil, with these phones, he played a major part, and that's the whole C-hip is like the phone going into your hand. They had that commercial on they had that scene on Black Mirror where the little Eve chick was okay, she answered the phone on her hand, because that's going to be that's the next thing they're going to shrink the phone down to a microchip. Okay, your wallet is going to be included, so your phone, your wallet, all right, because most people wallet is on their phone now, with the Apple Pay, the Google Pay. Okay, so this devil has been in the back, with this technology and just herding people to this new world order. Okay, now I got another video. Okay, I want to get into. All right, I'm gonna see if I can find that other video. All right, let me see if I can find that one real quick. Get a couple of these precepts you brothers got as well. They still looking for BB. Okay, they can't find BB. That's another thing too. They had this AI video with BB. This nigga got 6 fingers. Okay, it's looking bad. It's going bad for Esau, man. Okay, so they done caught, them putting a fake video of BB out. Okay, so they wondering about this guy. Okay, and we'll see, as things unfold. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Let me see if we can pull up girl using her hand for a phone. It might pull up. I don't know if brothers had brought it out, but the little chick was using her hand for a phone. It ain't pulling up now. Okay, but yeah, this is where these devils is going. Okay, but let's get a couple of these precepts and then we'll get this video here.
You are allowed to ask the question.
Let me see what you brothers got. Yes, the brother got this. This is this is brother GMS DC Taza Da. All right. Yara 144K. Lamentation 4 and 18. It says they hunt our steps that we cannot, all right, that we cannot go in our streets. Okay. Yeah, man. And they're doing this with surveillance now. This was when the Babylonians came in, and took down the southern kingdom. The Lord had the spirit on the Babylonians, to deal harsh with Jake, man. To track Jake down because Jake was tripping. You see? Southern Kingdom had got heavy into idolatry, man. So he put them Babylonians on Jake, man. And they was on Jake's ass, man. Jake couldn't escape. Okay? Well, this devil, he does the same thing. Lamentations 4 and 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in the streets. Okay? And like I say, this devil does this with surveillance now, man. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is at hand. And it says, our persecutors are swifter, okay, than eagles of the heavens. They pursue us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness, man. Okay, and this man has this technology everywhere, man. Okay, and on this grid, this all this infrastructure that this devil got, this surveillance infrastructure, this technology, the satellites. All right, it'd be hard to shake this nigga, man. Okay, and that's why we need a higher power, okay, to intervene. Okay, we need a higher power to intervene in these circumstances that we in, man. Okay, because this devil, this technology, man, this is why he has this God complex. Even though we know that this devil, he's limited, okay, he's flawed, okay. This is why this devil has this God complex, man, because the Most High has allowed this man to tap into this technology, man. Okay. So this devil in his mind, because he's able to do so much, okay, with this technology, okay, and he's like, shit, I'm God. I can do what God do, but he's limited. You see? So this devil, he has a lot of access, but even within there, he's limited, man. And the Lord is showing how fragile everything that this devil has built up is, man. If a brother can get that in let's get that in the book of Micah, chapter 1, verse 4 in the NLT Bible shop. Okay, so let's play this.
I mean, maybe it's the training for the next generation of consumer AI, or maybe it's training the system that just helps select targets in Iran. The point is, you don't know, and nobody is legally required to tell you. This is interesting. On March 1st, was that 9 days ago, roughly, Iranian drones hit 3 Amazon data centers, 2 in the UAE and 1 in Bahrain, if these reports are accurate. These are not military bases. They are not associated with military bases. These are, big kind of office building type structures, they're data centers. They're full of servers. And when they were struck, financial systems all across the Gulf suddenly went dark, as did many other services around the world. In fact, some of the AI services were interrupted. And some Amazon services were apparently interrupted. And Amazon Web Services, which is one of the largest providers of internet, what would you call it, tools, capability in the world. Amazon Web Services told their customers to migrate their data to other parts of the world. It turns out that the reason why Iran targeted Amazon in Bahrain and the UAE was because their servers were providing the US military with AI capability. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. A single ChatGPT query, if you go into ChatGPT and you say, what's the best restaurant in Portland where I can find, vegan food? In a couple of seconds, you'll get an answer. And that typical ChatGPT query takes about 0.3 watt hours of energy. That's 0.3 of a watt. Not even 1 watt. Right? The old incandescent light bulbs, they were 60 watts. So you could do 180, about 200 queries and use the same amount of electricity as one light bulb. So it's not a lot of power. You know, people are like, you know, like I published a piece over on Daily Kos this morning, and there's a picture that Louise did using an AI product. And some wag comes on and goes, you shouldn't have Louise make these pictures with AI. It uses so much resources. Well, it turns out most of the resources that are being used by AI are for our military.
Dang.
I mean, this is pretty amazing. You know, this is the Dre.
So they need all these data centers really for the military, because it don't take a lot of energy to find the best restaurant in Portland, okay, or to do these little videos. That don't take a lot of energy, but to fuel this tech, that's why all this technology, that's why all this harm to the environment, because the data centers that's being used to run these goddamn military, man. You see, that's where all this goddamn resources going into this to this military, man. Okay, in his quest to just dominate the world and force the world into a technocracy, man. Okay. Damn.
Dossier over on Substack, asking, so why is Amazon building a campus in Indiana that will consume 2.5 gigawatts of electricity, roughly equivalent to powering half the homes in the entire state? Why is Meta planning?
Salaki, it's Malachi 1 and 4, bro. So like I said, Michael. You know, it's Malachi 1 and 4. Yeah, Salaki on my end. Yeah, Malachi 1 and 4 in the NLT Bible shop.
A facility in Louisiana drawing 5 gigawatts. That's 5 billion watts. When a ChatGPT query is 0.3 of a watt, right? Why are they doing this in New York City? Why is OpenAI's Stargate facility in Abilene, Texas, already running at 200 megawatts and scaling toward 1.2 gigawatts? And then Dre Dossier writes, this only makes sense when you understand who the actual customer is. The military AI market is growing from $9.2 billion in 2023 to nearly $39 billion by 2028, a 33% annual growth rate. The Pentagon just awarded a $9 billion contract in 2020 to AWS, Google, Microsoft, and Oracle. And the Pentagon has also announced plans to build AI data centers on 4 military bases. Now, this is where it gets interesting. They write, when you see a gigawatt data center going up in rural America and the company won't tell your mayor what it's for, you are allowed to ask the question. I mean, maybe it's the training for the next generation of consumer AI, or maybe it's training the system that just helps select targets in Iran. The point is you don't know, and nobody is legally required to tell you. Now, here's where it gets totally wild. The Geneva Conventions, they were ratified in 1949, updated in 1977. And the additional protocols from 1977 include one called Article 52, parenthesis 2. This is of additional protocol number 1. And it notes that once a civilian object becomes a lawful military target, a civilian object becomes a lawful military target the moment it makes a, quote, effective contribution to military action. So, in other words, the minute that the Pentagon starts running their programs on Amazon's AWS data servers in Bahrain and the UAE, those servers, even though they have, your order for, a new spring jacket from Amazon, even though it's got that on it, that server has now become a military target. And Article 58 of the same protocol requires parties to the conflict to keep military assets away from civilian populations and not embed military operations inside civilian infrastructure. And we are doing the exact opposite. We've got, through Palantir, through JWCC, through AWS, we have these military operations being embedded in our data centers all over the country and all over the world. Now, the Red Cross has formally said, let's do something about this. The UN Security Council unanimously passed a resolution 2573 condemning attacks on civilian infrastructure, but even if it has military application, but none of it is binding.
This is Jen Spark. It's like having a full stack team in one workspace. Watch this. Build me a professional consulting.
This is, I mentioned earlier the whole battle between Anthropic and the Pentagon, where Anthropic, which makes Claude, the AI product, one of the better ones, just refused to go along with a military contract that required them to do targeting for autonomous weapons. In other words, weapons that kill people without a human being being involved, without a human being being in the chain of command or in the decision-making structure. And they note the Pentagon designated Anthropic a supply chain risk to national security, which is usually a label that we put on Chinese companies.
And basically, the devil, he just want to turn. He wants to turn, all right, this AI loose, okay, and just slaughter. That's basically what the devil want to do, man. He just wants to turn loose AI and just let AI go on the slaughter campaign, man, and depopulate. You see, that's another thing too, man. He would love to just depopulate by using, okay, AI. Okay, he would love to just be able to just go through, okay, with AI, okay, and these lethal, robots and, weaponry, okay, and just let AI do the culling based off the database. Just based off the database, just let AI go through and just start clearing things out. Okay, that's what the devil would love to do, man. Okay, so you watch Esau, man, and this devil, he got a lot of wickedness going on in these last days, man. But the Most High is wrapping this nigga up, man, and he only got a short time. So, as scripture say, he gonna come down with great wrath. Okay, and you got this devil, got the sword linked to the AI, man. Okay, and this devil looking like he's just gonna go for a bloodbath, man. Okay, so let's see. Want to make sure. Just leaving the links to some of these videos, but yeah, let's go here. Some of these that the brother got. Yep, this the brother. Brother Yaqua, Hopeful Lake 3, Mark 13 and 20 says, and except that the Lord, all right, has shortened these days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he have chosen, he have shortened the days, man. So if the Lord didn't intervene, man, this devil will destroy everything and everyone, including himself, man. The earth will just implode, man. The earth, it's like the earth will be inhabitable under this man's rulership if he was able to keep going. Because he does nothing but pollute and destroy. Okay, so he's destroying people with the data centers, all right, to feed his military that's destroying every goddamn thing. Okay, just like the brother said, this man is destroying everything, man. So he's destroying the earth. It's like his destruction is compounded. Well, let's go here, and this is why we have, the comfort of the scriptures. Okay, because through the scriptures, there's a solution to this nigga Esau, man. Okay, because the earth has an Edomite problem, and this nigga has been off the chain for too long, and that's why we back in. You see, the Lord's getting ready to reel Esau back in. Okay, that's why he has ensnared this devil in this war. Okay, we're just going to be the war to end Esau, man. Okay, Malachi 1 and 4 says, Esau's descendants in Edom may say, we have been shattered, but we will rebuild the ruins. But the Lord of heaven armies replies, they might try to rebuild, but I will demolish them again. Okay, so the descendants of Esau, these are the people that run the earth today, the descendants of Esau. Okay, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Well, the wicked is Esau. Okay, these Edomites. So the descendants of Esau, these Edomites, and of Esau, Edom, you have Amalek. Okay, which is the chief, the head. Okay, especially when it comes to this new world order agenda. All right, it says we have been shattered, but we will rebuild the ruins. But the Lord of heaven armies replies, they may try to rebuild, but I will demolish them again. Their country will be known as the land of wickedness, and their people will be called the people with whom the Lord is angry forever, man. So these devils have builded a digital Rome in the earth, but now the Lord is getting ready to demolish again, just like he did, all right, the pagan Roman Empire, man. You know, and it was taken by what they call barbarians. Okay, and you see now these other nations are getting busy with Rome. Okay, Rome is in straits again. Okay, so this digital Roman Empire is in straits. Okay, so this devil, knowing that he's falling, because he knows he have a short time, because he sees that, okay, damn, I'm actually losing power. See, this war is a reality check to this nigga that he got to tighten up. Okay, this war is a reality check to Esau that he gonna have to tighten his ass up with this agenda, man. So expect things, you know, to happen quick. You know, they already telegraphing false flags. Okay, they already had Jake with the, you know, properly with Allah hoodie. Okay, you know, another Jake supposedly in ISIS now, so we know where they're going, because he got to do all this quick. Okay, because his time is short. He's being demolished again. Okay, so yeah, I'll leave it there. You know, Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters are edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutation to the whole elect. Shalom.